Everybody! Welcome back, ladies and genitals. If the tone of my voice isn't already giving it away, then I tell you right now that I am very excited for the video I have in store for all of you today. We will be debuting a brand new show today called Fighting Game Gold and Garbage. I'm still working out all the kinks, but you know what? We're jumping right into the deep waters. The name is already copyrighted. Please do not steal it, or I will have my moderators feed you the grimace shake. Anyways, in this new series, we will be looking at different fighting games, their story, their modes, but most importantly, each individual roster member and deciding where each fighter ranges from gold to garbage and helping grade the game based on its individual ratings. All this explanation is starting to bore me already, and we're not even a minute in. And I've always learned by doing, so why don't I show you guys exactly how it works? But what would be a great first game to showcase our new series with? I mean, at this point, I started my Game Time series with the NetherRealm Marvel fighting game and followed up with Mortal Kombat 1's roster. And while I technically did start doing top 10s with the top 10 worst YouTubers, that vid was one big troll and just one big whole punchline. And my top 10s really started when I dropped the top 10 best Mortal Kombat fatality. So clearly, I'm Ed Boon Chill. So why not talk today about the only NetherRealm property so far that I haven't went in depth yet on this channel, Injustice 2. Injustice 2 is a NetherRealm fighting game starring the heroes and heralds of the DC universe in a universe where all the heroes are actually villains now, except for Batman because he's Batman and he can never be evil except for when he is. It released in 2017 as a sequel to the original Injustice, Gods Among Us, and was a success. I was so hyped for this game when it was first announced and dropped, and it's one of the fighting games that I spent the most amount of time on during its entire lifetime. So let's get started by rating each and every member of Injustice 2's 38 character roster. Starting with Superman remained largely the same, transferring over from Injustice 1 to 2, both gameplay and character-wise, but at least this time, nobody's getting booed for picking him in grand finals. Superman still remains a fun 5-tool player along with some nice development in the story and interactions at the start of every match. He also has great gear in-game and a fantastic super move. All in all, I'd say one of DC's main trinity and the poster boy for all superheroes was handed fairly with respect, which leaves Superman deserving of a golden yeah on this roster. I'm Batman. Batman is another one who remained mainly unchanged, albeit incredibly entertaining in Injustice 2, but one thing they did change was his corny little fighting stance in Injustice 1. That already is enough for the golden yeah. His dynamic with Superman in the story was amazing, and he also has amazing gear of his own, like the Batman Beyond legendary gear, among others. NetherRealm also did a great job keeping Batman lore accurate in the game, because Batman does it all here, folks. He could do zoning, he could rush down, he could do 50-50s, he's got his parries, everything. Batman could do a little bit of everything without being too busted at it like a lot of the other characters in this roster. The main protagonist of the game and the most popular hero in DC, Batman lives up to his hype and potential and deserves a golden yeah. This one may or may not cause controversy since I'm not sure how big of a fan base Wonder Woman has, Injustice 2 wise, but I'll be completely honest with y'all. She was great in Injustice 1, especially the hero version, and I absolutely love Wonder Woman, but I did not care for her in Injustice 2.
What?
Did not care for her in Injustice 2.
How can you even say that?
They don't like her.
Peter, it's so good. It's like the perfect movie.
This is what everyone always says. Whenever they say,
Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, you never see Robert Duvall!
Listen, fine character, didn't like her.
Why not? Couldn't get into it.
Explain yourself. What didn't you like about her?
She insists upon herself.
What?
She insists upon herself.
That even means?
Because it has a valid point to make. It's insistent.
She's just Superman's side piece. Her gameplay's boring, especially after they change her character power. And you know, I can't even finish her arcade.
Never seen the ending?
Well, how can you say you don't like it if you haven't even given it a chance?
I agree with Stewie. It's not really fair.
I've never seen her ending. I have tried on 3 separate occasions to finish her tower, and I get to the point in the 3rd tower where I spam her shield toss for the 15th time, and that's just where I lose all interest. She deserves a spot on the roster as part of the main trinity, but in terms of everything else regarding her, she's a notch above toxic waste, but that still leaves her at nothing but a dirt nana. You may have caught on at this point, but a lot of the core Justice League members and returning characters from the first Injustice really don't remain all that changed. Aquaman is one of the core members of the Justice League, meaning there was always a spot pampered for him on this roster. They gave him a little mint under his pillow, underneath his seat. Nevertheless, he still remains pretty fun in this game with one of the best supers and most annoying moves in the Trident Rush. His character power has gotta be top 5 in the game, and he's got some pretty nice gear to boot. Aquaman gets a golden, yeah. No time for any suspense. Green Lantern gets a golden, yeah, in this game just for the simple fact that you could change him from the Green Lantern to the Yellow Lantern, or the Red Lantern, or the Blue, or the Orange, or the Pink. You can literally change his powers to any of the Lantern Corps, even black or white, and it will even reflect in his gameplay, all his moves, and his super. His gameplay isn't all that different, meaning he's still pretty decent and fun, and decently fun. But a simple palette swap in his gear system is all it took to make me happy. Harley Quinn was one of the runaway stars in this game, story mode and otherwise, becoming one of the good fellas and even having an emotional scene where she turns away the past and her love for Joker. It gave her tons of development along with extremely fun gameplay and a much needed new character power with her 2 hyenas. All her gear is super fun and diverse as well, and she shines in her character interactions. That's a golden yeah for me. As I'm writing this in the script, I feel as though this is going to be the most controversial selection in this entire video. But I've got to set precedent, and I've got to set ground in this new series. With that said, even when Joker was first revealed for the roster in Injustice 2, myself and others went, why? He's dead in the universe, and it's not a situation like Injustice 1 where an alternate universe Joker is present in the story. No, this game is contained to one universe where Joker is dead, and he's been dead. Dead, always dead. Well, fighting games bring back dead characters all the time. I'm sure they'll make up for his slot in the game. Well, they didn't, and I'm sorry to say that. How is Joker more fun in the weakest NetherRealm game to date than in the game that actually takes place in his universe in media? His design in this game sucks. I don't know why they went for the Jared Leto look for him since everybody hated it even at the time. His gear stinks except for a safe few, and his gameplay is so toned down and boring in my honest opinion. He feels finally let loose in MK11 while he feels so limited in the Injustice game, and his interactions aren't even that fun that they can make up for it. In my opinion, Joker has next to nothing going for him in this game besides helping Harley's development, I guess. You could slot him out with any other fan favorite like Beast Boy or whatever because he's dead too, and nothing is lost. He is a waste of a roster slot. He is toxic waste. Put him in the bin. Black Adam's slot on the roster may be a perfect 50-50 split in just how many like or dislike him, especially without his hero and archenemy Shazam present. Nevertheless, NetherRealm did do enough to keep him fresh with the gear system and his design in order to warrant a slot for him, since his gameplay remains mainly the same, albeit very flashy. And Black Adam is one of the more recognizable villains and powerhouses in the DC universe. Not to mention his super is absolutely badass. Much like the rest of the fan base, I'm kinda split on him, or much rather indifferent to him. I'll give him the silver, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, golden, yeah. Green Arrow is just a lot of fun in this game, especially with the inclusion of his baby girl Black Canary. They just have so much fun chemistry in story mode and versus, along with his fun gameplay, his cool gear, I can put the hood on him, and his super move, which is a personal favorite of mine. But to be honest, his interactions, character, and personality are all more than enough for him to earn his golden, yeah.
This isn't what's meant by doing shots.
Like I said, the chemistry between these two are amazing. They feel like such a package deal that it almost feels like they've been together since the beginning, even though Black Canary wasn't in Injustice 1. But she is a much welcome addition to this roster. A completely fun rushdown playstyle with a cool character power, great gear, and better interactions with the rest of the cast, especially in a game where it feels like everyone and their grandma stuck to keep away. Black Canary gets the golden yeah.
Captain Tropical doesn't roll off the tongue.
Another new addition, one might first see Captain Cold and scratch their head asking themselves, really? Out of everybody in DC? But honestly, Captain Cold has a really niche and interesting setup playstyle that mixes well with his character power to create a fun and rewarding playstyle. Not to mention, he has some fun interactions in the introductions. I can't really think of any standout gear he has, though to be fair I really haven't played him too much, but nevertheless his cool and unique playstyle and his cool super, which I almost forgot to mention, earn him his golden yeah.
Together with our hellish hate.
Sinestro's missing in this game, which left Atrocitus to fill in the role as the Green Lantern villain of the game. And what are my honest thoughts on Atrocitus? Meh. He only has one fight in the story mode, and his personality consists of him just being mad and talking about the Red Lantern Corps. He does have one really fun interaction with Harley Quinn.
What is a plushie?
His gameplay is decent, and his gear is also decent, but I can see why some people would like him. For me though, meh. He does have that cat as his character power though, Dexstar. You know what? JustIsoYT.
But never smarter.
Gorilla Grodd was a fairly unique character even in the experimental realm that is the Injustice series, and some may look at him and question why, but like Captain Cold, I feel like he was a fun and inspired choice to help fill out the roster. Even in a universe with characters as diverse as DC, Gorilla Grodd still manages to stick out in the roster considering he looks like a regular gorilla in armor. He also has an interesting and unique gameplay style, although I feel as his presentation and super left me wanting more. All in all, I feel that Grodd was a lively shakeup to the roster, although if he was missing from the next game, I wouldn't be entirely torn about it either. JustIsoYT.
He betrayed Superman first.
This whiny ass bitch would be in the lower echelons of the toxic waste bin, just off of the simple fact that he killed my boy Dick Grayson. A man with an ass so fat, I'm surprised he's even able to do any stuff at all with that cheek clapper behind him. Not to mention, he moans and drones like a spoiled brat, but damn if this sword gameplay wasn't so fun. You can even put the Staff of Grayson on this guy to give him some of Nightwing's moves from the last game, and his gear isn't half bad either. It pains me to say anything positive about this iteration of Robin, but with all these positives I've listed, not to mention I get to watch him get cooked and roasted by every character on the roster at the beginning of every fight, I gotta give him the golden yeah. Besides Harley Quinn, you want to talk about another runaway success in this game? You gotta talk about Blue Beetle. Bro stole the show with his personality and everything, including gameplay. He's got a stand-switching character power, which is always fun, and with a character like Blue Beetle, you just know that his gear was always gonna be fire. And my boy was constantly trying to get in Supergirl's pantalones, and he was flirting with Poison Ivy? Same, bro. Same. This motherfucker no game. Golden, yeah. Firestorm was brought in as part of Batman's new up-and-coming heroes along with Blue Beetle, and while Firestorm wasn't as popular as Blue Beetle, I mean it's Blue Beetle, nobody was expecting Firestorm to pull that one off. Nevertheless, Firestorm had a fun playstyle with a great character power that only added to his entertainment and completely made him busted at some points in the game. Not to mention he's got a dope-ass super and he's got some really cool visuals in this game. His gear and interactions are fine too. JustIsoYT. Bane at first glance looks like he plays exactly the same in the first Injustice, and that's because he kinda does. He's still got all his grapples, his Venom character power, his attitude, although some of his gear actually is pretty cool. But when there's already 7 other Batman characters on this roster, after the last game had 9 total Batman characters, and other uber popular and requested characters were left out, I feel like somebody really should have taken the hit here on the Batman side, and this should have been Bane. And Joker if you were paying attention earlier. He could easily be replaced with another heavy grappler because this game really needed other fighting styles besides keep away. He just doesn't offer much new or keep things fresh enough to really warrant another spot on this roster. Put him in the bin. Catwoman's cool. She gets some nice development in this game, gets cool moments, and her gear is pretty nice as well. Her rushdown aggressive playstyle is always nice too in a game full of zoning. Catwoman is also popular enough to where I feel as if she was left off the game, there would be plenty of disappointment in her absence. She is also really fun to watch, and look at the ending of her super. I am but a man. Golden, yeah.
Weezy out of here. Weezy out of here.
Dr. Fate is a completely dope-ass character in and out of the comics. DC's Doctor Strange, you would expect him to don some crazy-ass shit in this game. It has some stunning moves and animations, and while he does have some of that, his overall gameplay and presentation leave a lot to be desired, as he's just another keep-away character. Yes, I understand, he's Dr. Fate, he uses magic, he's not just gonna be pure rushdown like Catwoman, but when a game has so much keep away already, it makes Dr. Fate stand out less in the roster. You didn't even have to change his gameplay style really, just give him cool like colorful moves, animations that still keep him as keep away. He does have some cool aspects to his playstyle though, like locking environmental hazards from the enemy, cool gear, and a cool super, which is even more important considering he does dick all in the story. I just feel like Dr. Fate was wasted potential left on the table, but I can't bring myself to completely cast him aside. He just needs work. He gets a silver hit. I think Swamp Thing stole Dr. Fate's animation budget. I cannot lie to you because this guy has some tough ass animations. His crouch, growing entire trees just for his jumping kick, and tossing logs around. Swamp Thing also manages to be a very unique grappler character with some nice setups, and he manages to be fun to play. His gear is fine, but considering his design, it's just vines and wood. I wasn't really expecting much there, but come on, who doesn't love him some Swamp Thing? Swamp Thing adds a lot of color and diversity to this roster in and out of gameplay, so color me biased, but my boy deserves the golden, yeah. Poison Ivy hot. I am but a red-blooded American male, and I am weak. I don't care how she plays, how she acts, or anything about that. Pretty lady, please bring her back for the next game and every game. She's got that cute dino plan too. Golden, yeah. Cyborg feels like such a boring character in this game. I don't know how you can take a character as dynamic and charismatic as Cyborg and make him so stale. His playstyle, moves, and animations feel so muted and limited, and he always felt so serious in the story. He doesn't remain all that different game to game either, and I know why they brought him back. He's one of the main Justice League members, and also he's black. Damn! His gear's cool, I guess, and his super might be top 5, but do him better or leave him out the next game, please. Put him in the bin.
You fear being disconnected.
His character felt absolutely inspired and fun. Scarecrow was never a physical character, but they used that to their advantage and make it so that Scarecrow's model in the game is actually a result of the effects of his fear toxin on the characters. Scarecrow doesn't actually look like that in this universe, it's just how they see him. He's got a fun playstyle centered around his hook and fear gas as well, and he's even got some really fun gear and a good looking super that's impossible to actually hit in game. Not to mention, this character out of all characters in the game is the one who absolutely flames the shit out of everyone on the roster before the match even starts. You lose to Scarecrow, really, you're losing twice. I give him the golden, yeah. I remember everybody was upset when Supergirl was announced because everybody thought she was going to be the one to defeat the main villain and saw her as a total Mary Sue before the game even came out. Now isn't that some shit? Supergirl didn't deserve that at all though, because she manages to be fun in and out of the game and manages to be different from Superman despite being another Kryptonian. And she was definitely another welcome addition to the roster with fun gameplay, and she gave us Power Girl. God. I promise I will stop being down bad when I'm dead, but until then, Supergirl gets the golden, yeah. The problem with NetherRealm's Keep Away is that they don't really know how to do Keep Away and make the zoners way more busted than they should. And Deadshot's the perfect example. Black Adam, Starfire, Deadshot amongst others, and that's just in the second game. The first game might have had it worse. They give these characters great zoning tools along with great tools in every other category. These characters are literally Mr., Mrs., Miss, and Dr. Do It All because they can literally do it all better than most characters in some situation. When Injustice 2 first dropped, all you saw were Deadshots because he did everything better than everyone else, so there was no point in picking anyone else. This might have even killed the hype for the game when it first dropped. Gunslinging characters are cool, but outside of Aaron Black, my dog, NetherRealm really doesn't know how to do all of them, and Deathstroke and Deathshot are perfect prime examples. I wouldn't mind seeing them bring Deathshot back, but he would have to be toned down so he doesn't completely overpower and overshadow everyone else and break remotes. As a dirt nah for you, buckaroo. Cheetah's got a super frantic, high-octane rushdown playstyle, which, as I said many a time in this video, is always welcome in Injustice 2 Zone Fest. Cheetah also might have the most damage out of any character in the game, and she also gets some nice story moments. She's a fun character to play, a fun character to play against, and a fun character to watch someone play. I've got no complaints here, besides the fact that outside of her design, I feel as though she kind of blends in with the roster, and has trouble standing out in that regard. Hell, I almost forgot about her when writing this very video. I left her out. This is the last character I'm recording. Could you imagine that? This Cheetah gets a silver yeet. I feel like Brainiac might have been the perfect villain for the Injustice 2, and he does have some fun moves, especially when you're fighting him at the arcade ladder and things, and he has some pretty decent gear and a very fun super. It's even more fun when you do it inside his ship, because then there's another ship hitting you in the ship and it just looks weird. He's also got a great design that could actually be creepy at some points when you look at him. He also maintains a good presence in the story until he is ultimately defeated. I myself am not really a fan in general of Brainiac and don't really care for him, but I can see perfectly why he belongs in the game and why some would enjoy playing as him or seeing more of him. He gets a silver eat from me. Our pre-order exclusive for this game because NetherRealm simply can't help themselves. NetherRealm does a great job capturing the swagger of Darkseid in his actions and animations, and I'll be damned if it wasn't weird but fitting to describe Darkseid using the word swagger. But seriously, this man is talking his shit, pimp smacking everyone, and walking around with his hands behind his back the whole time because he simply can't be bothered. He's also got some unique zoning and gameplay elements with his Omega Beam, his Boom Teleport, and his character power, plus his boss ass super, and yeah, his gear is fine, but his default design is already as good as you can get. Darkseid gets a golden yeah from me. I've been dying for Red Hood to make it in these games, and I was super excited to see him in this DLC, and his whole edgy, dark Lord personality was on full display for everyone to see. His gear can be pretty awesome at some points, and there's something about his character power that I absolutely love. With all that said, I feel as his actual gameplay did fall a little flat, simply because of the fact that you need to unlock his special moves like that barrel roll bomb for him to be real fun to use, and since it is a custom move, you can't use it in ranked and all that, which I believe is a unique problem for Red Hood only. Despite this, the wait for Red Hood was almost fully worth it. I'll give him a silver hit. After Scorpion was in the last game, you had to know Sub-Zero was gonna be in this one, but damn if they didn't make him some hot fire. Wait a minute. Sure, he keeps most of his animations from MKX, but he's got some new ones like swinging that giant ice hammer. He makes some cute little references in his interactions, and his gameplay is real fun, especially with his busted ice clone that is not his character power. Not to mention, his gear is some of the best in the game, with you being able to change him to look like all the other ninjas like Scorpion, Ermac, Noob, and others. Plus, they found a way to add his spine rip by having him perform a fatality on the cameraman in his outro. That is just a golden chef's kiss. Yeah. Another pretty lady. Look at that face. I am down horrendous right now. It's Starfire. Who doesn't love Starfire? Her quirky intros, nice gear, a decent super, and although her keep away playstyle isn't preferred in my eyes, she still is plenty fun to play. I am easy to please because Starfire gets the golden yeah. Stripper Raiden got mixed reactions at first because everyone would rather another DC fighter since we already had Sub-Zero to fill in the Mortal Kombat quota for this game. And then everyone saw his super move, which may genuinely be top 3 in the game and it isn't 3, and collectively said, what can go wrong? I'll give him a chance. Raiden's got a fun playstyle, and he interacts with everyone exactly how he does in the Mortal Kombat games, and you can make some real nice combinations with his gear. Yeah, I can't really help but agree with everyone else when they first saw him. I would have much preferred a Static Shock in this place, or even Black Lightning, who we ended up getting as a premiere skin for him. I can't help but feel like this would have been much better received if Black Lightning was the default character so he got all the gears, skins, and the pampering, and just have Raiden be the premiere skin. With that said, I'll give the God of Thunder the silver hit. Black Manta is my boy. I was real happy to see him announced as DLC with some cool gear, despite the fact that I really just used his default outfit because, I mean, come on! Look at how clean my boy look. He looks fresh! His hover character power leads to some really unique combos, and Black Manta in general just has a really dynamic and fun to watch and fun to play game style. This Manta is golden. Yeah. A big but welcome surprise to see Hellboy make it into this game, or as I like to call him, the Rabbit, because all this guy likes to do is jump around everywhere like an asshole. He has some nice interactions, he likes to fight you in the sky like an asshole, and his super is dope. A lot of people hold it against him that his armored hand switches hands whenever he switches stances, but I see that as just a small pet peeve. His gear also isn't half bad either, and it's actually just really cool to see Hellboy fighting the likes of Batman and Superman and Darkseid and others. That's a golden yeah.
Shell Shock!
Bro, cowabunga, yeah. We got the Ninja Turtles, and you could swap between each turtle and get new animations and character powers depending on who you pick. Come on, his character is one of the best in the game just based off of that alone. It's the Ninja Turtles, so you're always gonna get fun interactions, and their super is really fun to watch. The fact that you can play each and every turtle and they all appear as their own character, yet they managed to tie it down to one character spot, and they got some really cool gear as well. NetherRealm honestly deserves more praise in my opinion for how they handled the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I sound like an absolute nerd right now, but this is an absolutely goated character in my eyes. Yeah. Crouch animation, enough said. Look at how cute he is. Adorable. I want to pinch his cheeks. I want to tickle his tummy. Adam has some really cool elements in this game and some real nice animations alongside his annoying character power that I love a lot. His gear and super are fine, but Adam was a fairly requested character with some unique elements to his gameplay, and he's pretty fun to use and be absolutely annoying with. This is the character I pick when I just absolutely want to troll, and for that alone, he gets the golden yeah from me. They really took Enchantress's chaotic style and completely ran with it, casting hexes on your opponent, mind games out the wazoo, and setups with your character power. Her intro animations are always fun to look at, and her gear and super are fire. This character, in my opinion, is really fun to play, especially when you use her full tools to your advantage in getting your opponent's head. Unblockables and parries that look exactly alike, freezes, and all of it is great. Golden yeah for the both of ya. Everybody! Now that we've tackled all the characters, let's take a grand look at the total score for them so far. With each character able to get 3 total points and 38 characters, we have got 114 possible points so far. Listen, I know the math might be crazy here, I know a lot of y'all don't like math, but stick around please. They got 24 goldens out of 38, meaning off the bat we got 72 points out of 114. Add up the rest of the silvers leading to the 2s and the dirts with 1 point, and we've got 20 extra points out of 11 characters. Then we have Joker, Cyborg, and Bane, who are determined to tank the overall rating of this game, offering no points. Therefore, out of 114 total points, the roster grades a 92 out of 114, which is not bad at all. Aside from some questionable choices in selection, and especially gameplay with all the keep away that Injustice 2 has, the roster is fairly solid both in and out of battles and in the story. But what about the rest of the game?
Reverse Flash wins. Vixen wins. Power Girl wins.
The introduction of Premier Skins was a very fresh and great idea in order to offer more skins and to represent more characters in DC's extensive library. Injustice 2 is a fandom fighter, and the most important part of fandom fighters is including as many fan favorite characters as you can get, and NetherRealm found a way to squeeze in as many characters as possible without creating a whole new character or adding a character that otherwise wouldn't make it in the game because they're already too similar to a character on the roster. I know I said character a lot of times there, but bear with me please. Jay Garrick would never make it over Barry Allen, but thanks to the Premier Skin system, you are now able to play as either of them without sacrificing the other. This is a system that I would like to see added in many other fighters as well. Since this was NetherRealm's first time testing out this idea, it wasn't used to its full potential as I had hoped, but like I said, this was their first time using it. So I would definitely like to see it expanded upon if it's ever brought back. Around an extra 11 characters off the top of my head were brought back with their own voice acting, costumes, and in some cases even animations getting almost the full character treatment besides the gear system. With the Premier Skin system, we were able to see Power Girl, Reverse Flash, John Stewart, Captain Cold, and Vixen added into the game amongst others, and even Bruce Wayne? Well, they can't all be good. Like I said, I really enjoy this system, and while I did hope we got to see more characters added before Injustice 2's life cycle ended, I still gotta give the Premier Skin system the golden yeah.
You knew, even before I said anything. That was a good memory. From another lifetime. I miss the people we were then.
It is largely agreed that Injustice 2 has the best story out of all the NetherRealm games, and outside of some sus moments like Deadshot being able to shoot Flash while he's running, and the wasted potential of characters like Swamp Thing and Dr. Fate, this storyline has got the best beats due to great moments like Batman and Superman's entire dynamic at the end of the game, the development of characters like Harley Quinn, the Flash and Green Lantern, great characters like Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Blue Beetle, and the sheer presence of Brainiac in the latter half. This story mode was just a lot of fun to play on first playthrough, and though it's not perfect, no story is, let alone one for a fighter, and it never really dips into the realms of bad or offensive. This story is golden. Yeah. The gameplay remained just a more polished, smooth, and refined version of Injustice 1's gameplay. The clashes are all here, the interactions, the stage transitions are all here, and it also had some new features like the dodge roll, push black, and pop out into the gameplay in order to help with all the damn keep away and pressure it has. Most of the characters in the game keep at least some form of entertainment and remain fun to play. Really, the most outright glaring problem with the gameplay, as I've mentioned more than once, is all the keep away. Especially because of all the distance and how far back the screen goes between characters, which almost encourages projectile spam. NetherRealm almost hit the mark perfect, but honestly, there's a reason Injustice 2 is called a Zone Fest, and it is not for good reason, which almost drags the game down a little. Also, can they please take out that quirk in Injustice where you KO and knock down your opponent only for them to get right back up and then fall to a knee? Like, that's been in since the first Injustice, and I feel like they deliberately kept it in, but I just gotta ask, why? I gotta give it the silver E.
A monster in the night. Watching. Learning. Hunting.
The gear system was the real biggest gimmick for Injustice 2, allowing you to customize your character's abilities, stats, costumes, and their appearance to tailor them however you want and make it so even though you may be playing the same character as someone, no two characters are the same. For a first go, I feel NetherRealm did a good job creating very dynamic and cool gear pieces for all the characters, even static characters like Swamp Thing, whose design doesn't really lend itself much to customization. The only major downside I can think of is the shoddy loot box system being the main way you get gear. Of course there's other ways to get gear, but this is the main way to get most gear in bulk, and I'm not really a fan of it. You usually end up getting a lot of duplicates, you don't get the gear for whatever character you want, you sometimes get no gear for the character you want, or even get too much gear for one character, and it makes getting a certain build you want for a character really hard. Some people have played this game for years and have never even whiffed the Staff of Grayson because of some horrible RNG, including me. Sure, you have the Multiverse and online along with the unique character towers, but in cases like the Multiverse, a bulk of the rewards you get is more loot boxes rather than specific gear for a character, and these legendary towers has some absolutely psychopathic requirement cases in some cases. Like, oh okay, I just wanted some exotic gear with Red Hood. I guess I'm giving up my sleep, my vacation, and my job for the next month. Looks like my kids aren't fucking eating tonight. Some of this stuff would take incredulous amounts of time to get. Once again, the TLDR, the gear system itself is pretty great to add life and replay to the game, but I just wish there was another reliable way to get good gear rather than the loot box system. JustIsoYT. I touch on the towers a bit, but the rotating towers from MKX return for Injustice 2 in the form of the Multiverse, which offers tons of different towers for specific characters, for specific levels, or for whoever and whatever, and are great time killers for the single player audience or people who just don't like to play online. The Multiverse towers even offered a trial run for the DLC characters before they release so that you can get a feel for them. One small nitpick I have with the towers is that almost all, if not all of them, contain some kind of modifier, and sometimes I just want to play these towers without annoying ass modifiers getting in the way. And yeah, you could go to the arcade ladder for that, but you can only play the arcade ladder so many times before you get tired of it. So I just wish there was just more Multiverse towers that weren't littered with 2 or 3 or sometimes even 4 modifiers. But nonetheless, the rotating towers are great ways to add single player content into your fighting game besides the story mode and arcade ladders, and it also helps you bulk up on the legendary gear boxes as well. I'll give it the golden yeah. Well folks, we're already at 92 points, but we've got some other medals to tally. An additional 3 golds and 2 silvers add up to 13 points out of 15, leaving us with 105 out of 129. Wow, that number's pissing me off. Nevertheless, a fairly high score with only some small nitpicks and some flat areas in the game, preventing it from getting any higher, and I feel that speaks to Injustice itself. Injustice 2 is undeniably a great game, but some questionable decisions and just falling a bit short on the general quality of life for the game prevent it from being the perfect game that in some eyes it almost reaches. But that's completely understandable with a game that experiments so much with new systems like the gear system and the Premier Skin system. Nobody bats 100% and nobody is perfect on their first outing. Despite that, Injustice 2 still manages to be a great fandom fighter that pays its proper respects to DC's universe, with only a few characters that I feel weren't properly represented, or in some cases I feel shouldn't have been on the roster at all, which is insane in my book considering all the new characters that Injustice 2 adds. Seriously, Injustice 2 has 25 new characters out of 38 that weren't in the first Injustice, and the fact that they all felt fresh and fun and were positively looked on despite leaving so many popular characters out from the first game is highly respectable. I honestly wouldn't mind if the Injustice games were known for having a rotating cast of characters with a few mainstays like some Justice League members and some other characters. All in all, Injustice 2 gets the final golden yeah from me. Yeah!